but something that has a bit of action in or a bit of comedy or something like, maybe something that's less serious than The Impossible, something a bit more jokey.
You can quite fancy being like a superhero.
Oh yeah. I don't know. What kind of superhero would I want to play? Maybe Spider-Man in like 10 years' time. Maybe.
You're the Spider-Man.
No, I'm not. I'm not. This is just a costume. This is
From the ceiling.
fight with Captain America, and I stole his shield and I threw it at him. What the hell? He's big now. I gotta go.
This is an amazing story for so many reasons, because when was it I saw you on the street when I stopped? What year was that?
Like 3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago, I'd gotten this new G-Truck, and I have this ridiculous habit of whenever I have this car and I stop everybody else who's in the car to ask them, how do they like the car?
Yeah.
And so I was really in New York City and pulled up alongside. I saw your car. You had a silver G-Truck. And I said, follow that car, find that car. And we pull up alongside, right? You remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your version is?
When you open the window, I kind of knew it was you before you let the window down. I was like, that's Oprah right there. And you started just asking me regular questions about the car. And I'm like, okay, it drives cool, I just got it. But I want to be on your show one day.
And you said, no, you said that I'm gonna be on your show. Yeah. And I was more interested in the car. And then you said you go, I'm gonna be on your show one day. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But you're the first person who ever made that true.
Oh,
you were. Across the street is the Wishbone restaurant. I hear you used to eat across the street at the restaurant?
Yeah. And just come over and just look at the studio and say, one day I'll be inside that studio.
You could be the master of your fate, you could be the captain of your soul, but you have to realize that life is coming from you and not at you, and that takes time.
Wow.
Okay.
Want to hear a really crazy story?
Go on.
Okay, before I did those 3 movies, I was driving down Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, and I saw one of those crazy psychic reading signs, you know, the neon signs that said psychic reader. And I went, that sounds like fun. So I went in and I had a reading done, and this psychic reader said, you're about to do 3 projects that will change your life forever and make it very difficult for anyone to ever bring you down from the place that you're going to be, which is a really good place.
I feel like I'm dreaming because I have watched the 2 of you together for so many years that I am just happy to be in the Chelsea Ross sandwich.
I know. I got to be on Chelsea's show, Chelsea Lately, the best of the best of the best.
And there was also someone else who was a desk mate with you. They're talking about my current lover. Well, no, not my current lover. He's here. He's my permanent lover.
Yeah.
Joe Coy. Yeah.
Yes! I know.
Now, if you don't mind, I would love to take everybody back in time to about a year ago
We got the
and
receipt.
show you a clip, and my heart warmed up rewatching it, so I'd love to share it with you. Control room, do you mind rolling that clip for me?
I do want to experience big love. Like, I want to fall head over heels in love with somebody. I want to flirt and text. Like, I do crave that. So I hope that's in my near future.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And then I just got it. I mean, so anybody who's out there, I'm 46 years old, so any women who are out there and are men or anyone, and it doesn't matter who you are, if you're feeling like it may never happen to you, I'm here to tell you that it will happen to you. You just have to want it to happen, and you have to kind of manifest it to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you gonna write things down?
Actually, plenty of fish on the hook.
Hey, when I said I was the biggest boss, of course at the time I wasn't the biggest boss, but that was my perspective of where I would end up. And that's how I always spoke things into existence.
Okay, that's a good question, because again, my first impression of you when I first met you, you were talking that talk.
Believe
and part of it was like, yo, is he crazy? Is this guy? But I always got the notion that you believed what you were saying at the beginning.
Definitely.
Did you believe it, or was like, I have to say this?
I would die about it.
Happened. My dad lives in Panama, and he was trying to encourage me to come visit him in Panama, and he said that I should book a plane ticket, and then I'll get a Quentin Tarantino movie. He was, saying it with the logic that if I made plans that life would get in the way and I would have work, but I was like, yeah. And he had no idea that there was actually a Quentin Tarantino movie that I just auditioned for. But I did book the ticket and went to see my dad. And then my third day there, I got a call saying that I had to come back home and do a chemistry with Brad Pitt. So that was cool. And also, it was crazy that my dad called it, and now he feels like he has magical powers, and I'm just plugging in every director that I want to work with and be like, hey, Dad, will you say this?
I will say, I remember we were coming out of Garden of Eve, and it was me and you and Oscar, and getting into my hoopty car. And I said, one day I'm going to have a star here. And it was on Hollywood. The club was on Hollywood Boulevard and La Brea.
Yeah.
And I was like, right here, this will be my star one day. And almost 20 years to the day, I got my star like 4 stars down.
Wait, Isn't that crazy?
I love moments like that. That's foreshadowing, right? That's visualizing.
Mario was there. Mario was in that moment. I was like, I want a star. I'm going to have a star one day. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Back when you think about
drive us home, we're drunk.
Right.
Our home.
Yeah.
And then I remember encouraging, praying, and then I said, before you go, God has impressed me to tell you.
Yes, your famous words.
He's going to bless you and give you an opportunity to speak to millions of people. And you said, do you really think God would do that for me?
I do remember that.
So I remember saying to you, when God impressed me to tell you that you'll be speaking to millions of people, I didn't think it was going to be every day.
The TV debut, or late night definitely debut.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal for us because we were so excited to have you perform. I think you sang here. But it was so good. And you told me this great story about how you came once with your school.
Yeah. It was, I think, either late 2012 or early 2013. I was a theater student in high school, and so we took like a trip to New York for the first time as like a little drama club thing, and they took us to the NBC studio set, and I believe it was still late night, late night set, but I got in and I was like, this is crazy, and I stood on your like monologue mark. I was like, I'm gonna be here one day, and the tour guide was like, okay, let's keep going. And I tried to touch your desk, and they didn't let me.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, absolutely, No, I was so happy. And when you told me that story, I just felt so cool.
you're a legend and you're just crushing it. Wasn't it true that you were said in your yearbook most likely to end up on Saturday Night Live?
It is true.
You did it!
It's true.
Wow.
Things that shocked you about success. And the type of success, the type of popularity that you're experiencing, and this
Nothing has shocked me. I manifested all of this. None of this
Wait a second. Do you guys hear that M word? Manifest.
Yeah, I manifested it. I've taken it. I should start posting my vision boards from 10 years ago, because everything that I've experiencing, the most shocking thing, I guess, everything's a lovely surprise, because it's when you I need to go to the store and I really want these kind of shoes. And then you go to the store and those shoes aren't there, right? But then you go back a week later and then they're there. You're like, oh, great, lovely surprise, right? So I feel like I've been having a lot of lovely surprises, like a Tesla.
Wow, the Tesla.
Probably one of the biggest reasons as to why I am here, because I had belief. I had real belief in me, and that is one of the most powerful things in the whole world. So